You ever look at a really cool pattern on some floor tile or a piece of fabric and just wonder, how did they make that? It looks so complex. But what if I told you it was all built from just one single shape, repeated with a simple secret code? Well, today we are cracking that code. And that's really the secret right there. It's not about drawing hundreds of different complicated shapes. Nope. It's about taking one simple tile and just using a few basic moves. It's kind of like a game designer building a world. They don't hand draw every single brick. They design one, and then they figure out how to repeat it perfectly. So yeah, that's the big question, right? How is it possible that one simple shape can create all these different, really complex designs? Well, the answer is in the rules of the pattern, the code itself. And yeah, it totally looks like magic, but the truth is it's something way more elegant and honestly, way more accessible. It's math. And once you learn the system, you'll be able to see it and even create it absolutely everywhere. This whole secret code, it really just boils down to 3 fundamental moves. That's it. 3 tools in a designer's toolkit that can create pretty much any repeating pattern you can think of. We're about to unlock them: translation, reflection, and rotation. So the official term for these moves is a transformation. And the key word here is congruent, which, is just a fancy way of saying the tile itself, its size and shape, never, ever changes. The only thing we're messing with is its position and which way it's facing. Let's start with the easiest one: translation. Honestly, just think of it as the slide. You literally just slide the shape from one spot to another. It doesn't turn, it doesn't flip, it just slides. And this shows you just how simple it is. You put down a tile, you slide it to the right, trace it. Slide it again. Once you've got a row, you grab that whole thing and just slide it down. You just keep repeating that and boom, you've covered a whole surface. All the tiles are pointing in the exact same direction. Okay, move number 2 is reflection, or as I like to call it, the flip. This is where things start getting a little more artistic. Imagine there's a mirror line. You take your shape and you just flip it right over that line, creating a perfect mirror image of the original. So you place your tile, right? Then you flip it to create its perfect little mirror twin right next to it. And you get this beautiful alternating pattern: original, mirror, original, mirror. Then, just like before, you can take that whole row and flip it downwards. This gives you a really balanced, symmetrical feel. And last but not least, we've got rotation, aka the turn. This is how you create that feeling of motion. The trick is you gotta pick a single point, the pivot, and spin the shape around it by a certain number of degrees. The pivot point stays put while everything else moves. Just imagine putting a pin in one corner of a tile. Now turn it 90 degrees. Bam! New position. Do it again and again. After 4 of those turns, you've gone a full 360 degrees and you're right back where you started. You can see how that creates that cool pinwheel effect, right? All right, this is the big one. This is where it all clicks. The tile itself, it's not the star of the show. The transformation, the move you pick, that's what decides the whole look and feel of the pattern. Okay, let's take one single tile. If we only use translation, the slide, this is what we get: a super uniform, orderly grid. It feels stable, predictable, right? Because every single tile is facing the exact same way. But now, what happens if we take that same exact tile and add in reflection, the flip? Whoa. Now we get this balanced, symmetrical design. It's got more complexity, this really nice rhythm to it. It just feels a bit more decorative. And finally, let's try rotation, the turn. All of a sudden, that same simple tile creates this dynamic, energetic pattern. It almost looks like it's spinning, radiating out from the middle. So get this: same tile, 3 totally different worlds. And all we did was change the rule. Okay, so now you know the 3 basic moves. You've got the toolkit. And this means you can stop just seeing patterns and start reading them. You can actually decode the designs all around you, from the floor you're standing on to the art on the wall. Let's take a classic example you see everywhere. You ever wonder why triangles fit together so perfectly to make hexagons? It's just simple rotation math. Each corner on one of those triangles is 60 degrees. So if you spin 6 of them around one point, well, 6 times 60 is 360, a perfect circle. No gaps. So satisfying, right? So how can you spot these moves out in the wild? It's actually super easy. Just run these 3 little tests. First, the slide test. Can you just slide one tile over and have it match up perfectly? Yep, that's translation. Next, the flip test. What if you flip it over an imaginary line? Does it match its neighbor? That's reflection. And finally, the spin test. Can you spin it around a point to match another one? That's rotation. Simple as that. And trust me, once you start looking, you'll see this stuff everywhere. You know, simple grid tiles in a bathroom? Pure translation. That cool pattern on a shirt probably uses reflection for that symmetry. And then, of course, you have the master, M.C. Escher. His art is just this incredible playground of all three transformations working together to create those amazing interlocking birds and fish. And that's really what this is all about. The beauty in all these complex patterns, it's not random. Not at all. It's the result of applying super simple logical rules over and over again. It's just a few building blocks for, like, infinite creativity. So let's do a quick recap. Translation, the slide, gives you that uniform, ordered look. Reflection, the flip, creates that cool, balanced symmetry. And rotation, the turn, brings in that dynamic, spinning energy. 3 moves, 3 totally different visual effects. Look, if you remember just one thing today, make it this. The real magic isn't in the tile. I mean, that's just a shape. The power, the creativity, the secret sauce, that's in the transformation. That's the instruction. That's the code that brings the whole thing to life. And knowing this code, it's like having a superpower. It lets you understand art on a completely new level. You can look at a piece by Escher and not just be amazed by the interlocking birds, but you can actually see how he did it. You can basically reverse engineer his genius. So I'm gonna leave you with a question. You now have the key to this secret language that's literally all around you. Now that you know the code, what hidden patterns are you gonna see out in the world today?